The market ends higher despite cues indicating a possible rate cut coming from the Fed. Mid-cap index ends flat but relatively underperforms.
Bajaj Finance trades in green after delivering a good third quarter number. Tata Motors stock sinks after it misses profitability estimates, however holds on to JLR margin guidance.
Hitachi Energy hits upper circuit after saw multi-fold rise in its profit after tax. ABB sinks after the parent company in its earnings indicates a decline in orders in the India region. Voltas slips in trade over weaker than expected third quarter numbers. Hello and welcome to a fresh edition of Markets Forward, your go-to show where we aim to get you up to speed with regard to today's trading action and gear you up for tomorrow as well. I'm Nigel and with me is Vinny. Hi Vinny, it was another good session actually for the Bulls. It was expiry related and by the end of it, at least the Bulls went home with some green.
Absolutely. Bulls went home with some green. But, Nigel, I'm wondering what happened to the mid-cap, right? It ended pretty flat, a bit on the negative side, slight bit of a negative bias, but not a bad day coming in, almost near the day's highest point is what we're
Well, that's right. And in the next 30 minutes, Vinny and me will take you through all the market cues. We'll tell you what went on today, stocks that were moving around, and we'll also get you all the top market voices that we heard during the course of the day. First up, though, let's take a look at, the Nifty. The Nifty ended higher with a gain of around 150 points. It was a steady trading session. At around 2 p.m., we had a bit of a dip, but that dip got bought into. Keep in mind that for the series itself, that's the first series of 2025, the Nifty goes home with a cut of around 2%, but a fight back is what we have seen from the recent lows. Close to around a 450 fight back is what we've seen. So the Bulls will take heart from that fact. The Nifty Bank, for majority of the trading session, traded in the green. It went home with some mild gains by the time we wound up, 150 points, in the green. The problem was the mid caps ended more or less flattish, a bit of an underperformance coming out from there. But I'll tell you what, the Bulls will take some kind of consolidation after the rocky start that we had to the week.
Absolutely. And Nigel, today we've seen that Nifty Pharma coming back in action. Yeah. We've seen a good move coming in for Nifty Pharma. And a lot of pharma names have been in focus. So look at Laurus Labs, Granules, there was a news flow that came in, Cipla, Aurobindo Pharma. All of them actually ended on with a strong footing. Even Realty names did quite well. So yes, keep an eye out on Realty going forward. But Nifty Realty also among the top sectoral gainers today. But well, here's a lineup for you all of what we have in store for you all in today's show. We start with the top movers and shakers of the day with Hormaz, and moving on we'll go to Whirlpool, which has been in focus after Whirlpool India made waves on the street as its parent company eyes a big stake cut to 20%. Earnings season continues to heat up with stocks like Hitachi Energy and Voltas posting the Q3 numbers. Stay tuned in as we get you more on that. Last but not the least, we will delve into actually what are the key market events to watch out for in tomorrow's trading session, so don't go anywhere. But starting up the show, let's go across to Hormaz, who's here to tell us which were the top movers in today's trading session.
An interesting day of trade, and as expected from the expiry, right? And there were plenty of stocks that were in action in today's trading session. We start off with some of these names that were the earnings extremes, if you can call it that. Hitachi Energy was the star of today's trading session, a 20% move there. The accident of today's trading session, of course, was Tata Motors ending at a 52-week low, as did Voltas with a 14% cut. Welspun Living also fell to the lows of the day after its results announcement, and BEL seeing a very convincing beat compared to estimates, ending 4.5% higher there as well. The rebound continued in a lot of these real estate stocks in today's session. So almost every stock in the real estate index ending higher with gains of anywhere between 2 to 3% in today's trading session. Profit booking was seen in IT names, particularly the mid-cap IT stocks that have been outperformers in the recent past, be it Emphasis, Coforge or Persistent Systems. All of them ended lower, anywhere between 3.5 to 5%, and Infosys and Wipro also contributing to the downside, barring a slight spike towards the close of the trading session. The newsmaker of the day undoubtedly was Whirlpool in terms of the news flow. 20% lower, started that way, ended that way, no change there absolutely. Laurus Labs ending at the highs of the day with some positive news flow coming in from the US. NetWeb continuing to build on yesterday's rebound. SRF, some positive management commentary coming in there as well, and Solar Industries too having a good day at the office. And lastly, some volume-led movers in today's trading session. Some of them also are earnings reactions like Electra Greentech and JBM Auto. Deepak Fertilizers gained 14% yesterday, ended 13% lower today, giving up everything that it gained. Back to you guys.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that. Hormuz, all those stocks that are moving around. Let's go across to our market gets, though. Amrish joins us to help us out with the fundamentals. And Ruchit will give us his take on the technicals. Hi, gentlemen. Thanks a lot for joining in. Ruchit, you go first. Rocky series for the Bulls. They'll be happy to have, they fought back towards the end. But do you think there is some more in store in terms of a pullback? We're down 2% for the series, but actually looking at the way we started off the week, the Bulls will say, no worries, we live to fight another day.
Yes, hi, very good afternoon, Nigel. Very good afternoon to everyone. Well, definitely, I think some of the global factors have helped us to show this pullback move. Primarily, if we look at last few months since the month of October, the rising dollar index and the rising 10-year US bond yield, where we have exact inverse correlation that was going against the market, and hence we have seen this sharp correction. Now, in last 10 days, the dollar index has cooled off from that high of 110 to 107, 108 now. So I think this, and our markets generally, generally reacts to that with a time lag of about 1 to 2 weeks. So I think this is one factor which will support our market, and technically also 22,800 to 22,500 was a very strong support zone. So we believe that markets have started the process of forming a short-term bottom. Of course, some volatility in the short-term event-related volatility could be there, but any dip if we get again towards the 22,800 or 22,500 range, I think that's where the support base would be formed for the next leg of uptrend. So downside seems to be limited. We are giving an opinion that any dip, event-related volatility in this event-related volatility, if we get any dip again, that should be used as a good buying opportunity.
Okay, any dip should be used as a buying opportunity in the market right now, and obviously the levels that you mentioned over there is something that one should watch out for. But let's move on and talk about Whirlpool. And Whirlpool India hits lower circuit after the stock plunged by 20%. And this came in after the parent company has decided to trim its stake in its Indian arm to 20%, reducing it into a minority investor. Let's go across to Hormaz, who's here to tell us the impact on the Indian business. Over to you, Hormaz.
Interesting news flow coming in earlier this morning with Whirlpool Corporation deciding that they are going to pare their stake further just a year after they had sold at mega 24% stake in the Indian entity. And they said that they plan to bring the stake down to 20% by the mid or the end of this year, is what they said. They started off 2024 with a 75% stake. Then they sold 24% in the month of February, bringing it down to 51%. And now they plan a further dilution to bring it down to 20%. Now, the last time around they did this, they currently hold 51%, of course, but the last time they did this, they sold around 24.7% stake in that block deal that was well over 4,000 crore rupees. They used that to pay debt, strengthen the balance sheet at the parent level as well. And they also said that this stake sale is to ensure greater autonomy to the India business and that they will remain relevant to their core portfolio as well. Remember, the CEO, when the block deal had happened, the parent company CEO had come in and said that they took some money off the table because the Indian entity is trading at 50 times while the own parent entity is trading at a far lower valuation. And that holds true this time around as well. At the current price, Whirlpool is trading at around 41 times. The parent entity is trading at just 9.5. So the street has not taken it well. An overhang that has developed here on when it comes to the promoter stake sale, and that showed in the way the stock reacted in today's session.
Absolutely, Hormaz. Thank you so much for that. But, Amrish, coming to you, what are your thoughts on Whirlpool India? And do you think, this worry that has come in today is something that could go on going forward as well?
Yeah, surely. Because, see, the way I would see it is clearly a collateral damage because of the debt of the parent. And the worst thing is announcing that they'll sell in the market. 30% selling in the market, I think it's huge. If they were to sell to a strategic investor, it would have been completely different. But then, just like last time, they sold in February 2024, and the stock had cracked at that point of time. But the saving grace at that point of time was that the promoter still held on to 51%. But now reducing to 20%, why not sell the whole thing to any strategic investor? What's the point of holding 20%? And if they hold 20%, then going ahead, we don't know what's going to happen to the royalty as to how much they'll try to increase that. On top of that, they may float a 100% subsidiary also. I think with this, at least the Indian shareholders would have completely lost faith in the parent. And it's better that they move out. Otherwise, it'll still be a wealth destroyer. And at this point of time, even if there are 1 or 2 more circuits, I would not say that this is a buy. If you get a chance to exit.
I think, Amrish, whatever it hits 1 or 2 more circuits, the promoter will say we don't want to sell. Maybe, the bulls will like to think so. It's come so low. We thought we'll sell it at, whatever, 1,500 rupees odd. Today I saw 1,250, couple of circuits lower, 800 rupees. We'll go back on that plan. Cool. We take that point. But let's talk about happier. Yeah, Amrish.
And I think the only trigger can be if there's a strategic investor or a buyer coming in. I think that's the best thing to happen.
Indeed. Let's talk about happier times though. And Hitachi was one that gave good news today. The stock was at upper circuit. Vamakshi joins us to tell us what all favored the stock today. Vamakshi, take it away.
Well, Nigel, a blockbuster set of numbers coming in from Hitachi. When we look at the revenue, that it came in at 1,620 crores. This is an uptick of 27%. Although 1% lower than what the street was expecting, but the EBITDA margin saw a substantial improvement of around 500 basis points to 10.3%. The net profit too came in at 137 crores. Now this is before adjusting for notional forex gain, and that is the reason why the net profit saw a very sharp bump up. But when we adjust for the notional forex gain, the net profit actually stood at 85.5 crores, which is still nearly 8% higher than what the street was anticipating. When we look at the ordering activity for the company, that was also very robust. Keep in mind that they received a substantial order from, Power Grid. Then this was in a consortium with BHEL. This was a large HVDC order, which is why the order inflow went up from 1,235 crores in the same quarter last year to 11,594 crores. And with that, they also posted the highest ever order backlog of somewhere around 19,000 crores. So overall, good set of numbers. The order activity picking up bodes well for Hitachi.
Okay, absolutely, Vamakshi. But, also to tell us about ABB India, because that has also seen a bit of a slip coming in trade on the back of some global commentary from its parent company.
Well, absolutely right, Winnie. The global parent reported its numbers, and in its presentation, the global parent mentioned that order inflow growth for the India region has declined by 21% on a year-on-year basis. So because of that, there was some pressure on ABB India. But, it is important to note that the correlation of these global numbers for the India region with the Indian entity, that is ABB India, is not very direct, and that is because ABB Global looks at third-party customers in India who give orders to ABB India, other ABB entities and ABB companies outside India, which is why there is some bit of a disconnect, if I may say, between the numbers that are reported by the parent as well as the numbers reported by the Indian entity. Case in point, when we look at the quarter 3 numbers, we saw an uptick of almost 11% in the Indian entity, while for the global company, they posted a growth of 9%, and so on and so forth. You can see that there has been a disconnect. Keep in mind that ABB India is expected to report its numbers on Feb 18th. As of now, because of the overall decline that the India region saw, the stock, that is ABB, was under pressure today.
Okay, Vamakshi, thank you so much for that. But Rishita, I want to come to you. Hitachi Energy, when you're looking at it in terms of a move, last 1 year, 120% uptake. Today also, the stock was in upper circuit that we saw, right? So good numbers surely is there, fundamentals is there, but on the charts and technicals, what is Hitachi Energy indicating now?
So really the good thing is that the stock had already seen some correction before the numbers itself. In the month of October, the stock price made high of around 16,500, from which along with the broader markets, the stock corrected to even sub 9,000 just day before yesterday. So I think this was a good thing that the price-wise correction was already done, due to which the overbought setups have cooled off. And the kind of volumes that we have seen in today's trading session after the numbers, this clearly indicates a good buying interest in the stock. So I think this should lead to a resumption of the uptrend. And probably if one is looking for some positional perspective, then one can expect new highs very soon in this one.
Got it. Okay, all right. Let's focus on the next one. Voltas. That was a disappointing set of numbers that did come in. Revenues were in line, margins were a miss. Upasana is going to dissect those numbers for us. Upasana, take it away.
Well, numbers missed our poll estimates. The miss was largely driven by lower than anticipated UCP margins. Now talking about the key segments of the company, the UCP revenue growth stood in line at 20% on a YoY basis, while margins were weak, down about 240 basis points at 5.9%, likely on higher competitive intensity. Now, company's EMPS segment saw strong revenue growth of 21% on a YoY basis, while company's EPS segment saw muted performance this quarter. Now, speaking of Voltas Beko, this JV reported a loss of about 31 crores, and but saw a 56% volume growth in home appliances in 9-month FY25 on increased market share for refrigerators and washing machine. The washing machine market share surpassed 10% mark in this quarter. Now, company says that it continues to remain market leader in both split and window AC with a market share of 20.5% as of December 2024. Now, let us talk about the numbers. The revenue saw an uptick of 18%. PAT stood at 130 crore versus a loss of 27 crores. EBITDA margins were down about 77 basis points at 6.3%, while we were estimating it around 7.07%. So, clear miss on margins, PAT and revenue in line. So, all in all, the numbers were a miss.
Okay. Miss came in on Voltas, but Amrish, your view coming in for Voltas, what are you watching out for here? And consumer durable space as a whole, do you think that the miss that we've seen in Voltas could continue for other companies on the AC front as well?
Yeah, I mean, talking of Voltas, yeah, clearly, I think on the revenue front, it was decent in line, but then rest of it, whether you talk of EBITDA or the net profits, both were much below market expectations. That's the reason we've seen this cut. And the sort of a slowdown which we have seen in this space, I think, can continue for a quarter or two more, and it is bound to affect the rest of the companies in this space.
Okay, Amrish, thank you so much for that view coming in on Voltas. But thank you, Amrish, as well as Ruchit, for joining in with us on today's show, for giving us key market insights over there. But with that, we're going to slip into a very short break, and we'll get you top corporate voices along with the key market events to watch out for on the other side of the break. Welcome back to Market Forward on CNBC TV 18. Now let's get you some corporate voices we had over the course of the day. Blue Star, a manufacturer of air conditioning and commercial refrigeration system, is expecting a good fourth quarter for the industry. The company's room air conditioner market share reached an all-time high of 14% in December quarter, and the target to achieve 15% market share. The company guides to maintain growth of 20 to 25%.
Next up, KPI IT Technologies management says that the company is making significant investments to enhance productivity through AI. The management expects improvement in margins due to better product mix and productivity in this quarter. Adds that looking ahead, Asia will be the company's key growth driver, and they're optimistic that the US business is picking up, while deal flow from European business as well remains strong.
And in some more management commentary, Dabur reported in line set of Q3 numbers. Management says that the urban market has bottomed out but will see improvement going forward. The company guides for mid to high single-digit growth going forward and also expects the budget to boost urban demand. And before we wrap up this edition of Market Forward, we bring you some of the key events to watch out for in tomorrow's trading session. Let's go across to Mangalam Munzir to give us those details.
Let's start with stock-specific details. Stocks that will be reacting to numbers post-market today. Tomorrow would be L&T and Tata Consumer Products from the Nifty end. And the companies that report their numbers tomorrow, we have quite a few. But, among them, the most notable ones include the likes of Marico and Nestle. We also have some others reporting their numbers too. We'll keep an eye out on, the Feb series that begins tomorrow. And we have 4 stocks, NBCC, Phoenix, Solar Industries, and Torrent Power, all of them actually trading in F&O from tomorrow's trading session. Earlier, we had Castrol and Gland as well, but those were later removed. Thereafter, we'll keep an eye out on, the Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, presenting the economic survey in the Parliament one day ahead of the budget. So macro cues would be extremely crucial. Speaking about macro cues itself, we will watch out for the 8 core industries data for December that comes by post-markets tomorrow.
Okay, all right, Mangalam, thanks a lot for that. Well, on that note, though, we'll have to wrap up on this edition of Markets Forward. We'll be back with more news and updates, so stay tuned.